Today here in the office, we have a first look and hands-on with Acer's latest Chromebook, the Spin 714. There's a lot of cool stuff going on in here, so let's not waste anybody's time and jump in. But before we get into it, today's video is brought to you by Penoval. Penoval makes fantastic USI pens for Chromebooks, styluses for iPads, and Surface devices that are well built, stylish, and come with a reasonable price tag. Their latest model, the USI 702 Chromebook stylus, comes with some pretty sweet features like USB-C charging, a unique eraser on the end, and a more solid pen tip with enhanced palm rejection. In our time with this pen, it has worked on every single Chromebook we've tried, and the eraser tip works just as you'd expect in all sorts of apps with no setup needed whatsoever. In addition, they also have the overall most popular stylus on Amazon as well, the Penoval USI 150, that generally goes for less than $50. If you're interested in picking up one of Penoval's great pens, check out the link in the description to find out more. Alright, so like I said, this is an early hands-on look at this device because, again, we can't go yet to an in-person event, but imagine we were at an in-person event and we got done with the kind of big keynote and we walked out to where the products were. It's that sort of thing. This is a pre-production unit. Acer doesn't expect this to be shipping until about August. So there's a lot we can't talk about yet with this particular device. Some testing we can't do at this point, but I can give you the specs of what's going on and tell you a little bit about what it feels like to just handle this new Spin 714. I'm sorry, I'm going to probably mess that up at least 10 times in this video because this thing looks a lot like the Spin 713. If you've seen one of those over the last few years, you kind of know what to expect here. You've got a nice kind of brushed powdered aluminum casing. It's very well built. It's very sturdy. It's got the normal hinges on the back here that are going to allow it to spin all the way 360 degrees. But there's some niceties that they've added in this that are a little bit different than the norm. So much so that I would expect, I don't know this for sure, I'd expect that Acer probably won't put out a 713 this year because I think this is going to fill the slot for people that are looking to upgrade or looking to get a 12th gen Intel Alder Lake premium device from Acer this year. So like I said, it is 12th gen Intel Alder Lake. We'll talk about some specs real quick before I crack it open. It's going to come in either i5 or i7 variants. It is fanned. As you can see right across the back here, there are fan ports and there are fan ports on the bottom. We'll walk around the device in just a second. i5, i7, up to 16 gigs of RAM. This device has 8, so I'm guessing it's going to be 8 and 16. And then we've got up to half a terabyte of NVMe storage. This one has 256 gigs of NVMe storage. Now, all the usual connectivity things apply here as well. So Wi-Fi 6E, Bluetooth 5.2, all that kind of stuff. And, the performance that we would expect from Alder Lake. Now, we don't have any like full-blown manufacturer-ready, bought it at Best Buy kind of Alder Lake Chromebooks yet. We're still waiting on probably HP's Dragonfly Chromebook will be the first one we'll actually get in hand and say, hey, this is a production-ready device. So we can't talk about exactly how fast this thing's going to be from a benchmark, standpoint, but I can tell you Alder Lake is just going to be flat out fast. The GPU is going to be really good, even just the built-in Iris Xe graphics GPU that you'll get on both the i5 and i7 in this. So, if you're looking at Steam gaming down the road, this device will be one of those ones eventually that'll be capable of that kind of stuff. And so you already kind of can pick up on, and as we walk through it, you'll pick up on it more, all the things that make it kind of like the Spin 713. It's got a lot of the same looks and a lot of the same feel. There are some differences here that we're going to talk about, but in general, I really think this is going to fit the bill for that level of device from Acer this year. All right, so let's jump in here and actually give this thing a look. The first thing you'll probably notice as we jump in is this is a 14-inch. It's Spin 714, so 7 denoting it's a kind of higher end, 14 denoting it's a 14-inch screen. But if you're looking at it, you can probably tell that this is not a 16:9 screen. It's not. It's a 16:10 screen, so it's not quite as square as the 713's 3:2 screen, but it's not as rectangular as you get on a standard 16:9 screen. Acer is also saying that this is 100% sRGB, and based on just looking at it, probably close to that same 400 nit panel display that we see in the 713 and have for a few years at this point. Also, what's really kind of cool about this is they're doing two different options on the display density. So there is kind of basically a full HD version, so it's actually 1920 by 1200, I believe is the 16 by 10 version there. And then there's also a quad HD variation of this, so 2560 by, I don't know what that would equate to, probably 1600, I think. I could be wrong there, but so you've got kind of the standard full high def, and that's what we've got here, and it looks really nice and sharp, but they're also going to do a quad HD for those that want to upgrade to that. The device that we have here with us is 8 gigs of RAM, the Core i5 variation with 256 gigs of NVMe storage, and the full HD panel here. Additionally, up top you'll see the slider that covers the camera mechanism, and I'm just going to keep saying this over and over again, but this should be included on every Chromebook at any price level. This is a very small inclusion, but it's nice to be able to turn that camera off when you don't want to be using it and you want to be for sure that no one else is seeing you. The last thing I'll say about the display is even with Acer's higher end devices, they have a tendency to keep a really big bezel on the bottom, kind of a big chin on the screen. They've really narrowed that down quite a bit, and that takes some work because the hinges that hold displays up on convertible devices like this one, they really do need some extra reinforcement. So sometimes that big chin at the bottom of the screen is partially due to that. I like to see companies get that bezel down as low as possible. It makes the screen just look nice. It makes the device look more modern overall. So really liking everything about the display so far on this one. Another thing I have to say about the top portion of this, and hopefully this makes it into production, is that you get the one finger lift as well. So I can lift this thing up with one finger, and that's really difficult to do on convertible devices because, again, that hinge has to be weighted in such a way that allows it to turn over into tablet mode and all that kind of stuff. It's really hard for them to get that right with all the weighting and everything. So kudos to Acer already on this thing for its build quality in a pre-production status. A few other notable things here before we dive into anything else. We've got a backlit keyboard here. We've got an all Gorilla Glass trackpad as well. Now this one is a little smaller than what you get on the 713, which isn't a surprise. It's a slightly smaller device when it comes to kind of top to bottom because it's not such a tall screen, but they've also taken up some space with these upward firing speakers. I'm not going to put too much stock in what they sound like right now, but they do sound really nice, and they're upward firing, so you get that clear stereo separation. They're pretty full, but honestly, a lot of times the speakers are one of the last things that get really tuned up before a device goes out the door. So my hope is they just get better before this thing ships. So now you've got the camera switch up here at the top. This really nice high resolution 16 by 10 display. It's nice and bright, nice and colorful. You've got upward firing speakers. You got a really nice keyboard here that's nice and clicky with backlighting. You've got a Gorilla Glass trackpad. You've got an all aluminum bottom. The top here is a plastic of some sort, whatever it is that you've been using for the last few years. But this thing is super rigid. I mean, it feels really good, really premium, even when it's opened up like this. So, I mean, from a design standpoint, I really like what Acer has done with this 714. Before we take a quick look around the outside of the device, I do want to log in here real fast. Let me turn the brightness down so we don't blow the shot out. Hopefully that's about right. Let's look at Joe and see. He likes that. But you can just see the color pop here, and it's IPS, so viewing on all angles looks really good. And I just really like the layout of this screen. I'm a big fan of 16 by 10 screens. I think they're great for productivity. Apple figured this out years ago. They put 16 by 10 screens in MacBooks for years at this point. While I love 3 by 2 screens, I know some people are a little put off by the more boxy design. This, I feel like, strikes a nice medium balance. And again, I'm just really happy with the screen size on this thing, and it's still feeling like an overall portable device. So lastly, let's actually look around the outside of this thing real quick. So we've got a handful of ports here as well. We've got USB Type-C here. You've got a full-size HDMI slot. Always love to see that. Headphone, microphone jack, power key there. And then your volume rocker, a USB Type-A slot here, and then another USB Type-C. And along the bottom, basically just vents for fans there. Finally, along the outside is something that I honestly just missed for the first few days that we had this thing, and that's this guy right here, this stowable USI recharging stylus. And this is something that Acer used to include. The original 713 had a removable stylus, and they got rid of it for the next few iterations of the 713. Again, I know this isn't the 713, but I feel like this is kind of spiritually the successor of the 713, and I really love them having this stylus back in here. Again, you can have something like a Penoval stylus if you want to buy a nicer pen to use with this. It's USI, it'll work. But I really like the addition of having a stylus in the device that when you need it, it's always there. And so far, using this one with cursive or canvas or squid has been really good. The nub on the end of it has a really good grip on the screen, and I've really enjoyed writing with this so far. But I don't want to say too much more about it right now because, again, this is all pre-production. So until we have one in our hands that's actually going to be on store shelves, I don't really want to judge it too much. But I do like the fact that they included the pen in the Chromebook and it comes in the box. Finally, as I said earlier, Acer is saying August for availability here, and the pricing is going to be either $749 or $729. And as we're filming this, we were told $729 for this configuration. It's the Core i5, 8 gig of RAM with 256 gigs of internal storage. But then we were also told that it might be $749. They're trying to iron out those details. But either way, this is an awesome Chromebook for that kind of price. And when you start thinking about sale prices that will happen later on in the year, you're talking $600 probably, or maybe even less, for a device that just has almost everything you could want in a Chromebook. You're getting a great display, a nice keyboard, backlit keys, a glass trackpad, an included stylus, convertible form factor, upward firing speakers, really fast internals. I mean, I don't really know what else you want in a Chromebook right now. And so I think Acer's really knocked it out of the park with this so far. Based on our initial hands-on testing, I can't wait till this device comes out and we actually get hands-on with a production unit, because I think this is going to be a really, really solid option for anybody looking for a mid to high-end Chromebook here in 2022. But guys, that's it for this one. If you enjoyed this video, give us a thumbs up, head down there, hit that subscribe button, and make sure and ring the notification icon as well if you'd like to be alerted when we make future videos just like this one. Till next time, we'll see you.